Today is day 127 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you would like to sponsor an upcoming shiur or more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, it would be very, very much appreciated. Please contact me directly. Today we are learning from Siman Pei Tes Sif Lamed to Siman Tzadik Sif Vav Bichlal. And we are finishing up here with some laws about davening. It's other laws about davening. Lamed. I forgot there was Siman Nun Ches Nizbar Dushas Gag Yochel across Kriya Shema Me'elos HaShachar. Even though we learned that Siman Nun Ches that in a pinch you can read Shema from Elos HaShachar from dawn. You can't Yikra B'Spal Kon B'Tzios L'Derech. That's the case. Why not daven and learn before you leave? I'm sorry. Why not read Shema and daven before you go on your road? Before we said that you could, if you're going to go on your road that early before it's my Kriya Shema, you should daven and then say Shema later. That was we said that yesterday. We said daven and say Shema later because the time of davening starts from Amud HaShachar. Was time from. I think I just got mixed up between learning and saying Kriya Shema again, but you get the idea. We said that if this amount of tefillah starts as it does from dawn, and as Mar Kriya Shema is Mishiakir, so therefore you would daven first and only say Shema once you're on the road, and you wouldn't be somebody who would tefillah that day. So it's how he says, since the Shasat Chak, you read Kriya Shema from Elos HaShachar, so why not daven in the proper order? You can Yikra B'Yisrael Kol Mitzios L'Derech. Read Shema and daven before you go. It'd be somewhat good tefillah. That's only true when on the derech you will not be able to read even one pasuk with kavanah standing still. At least if such going out to a place of packs of bandits, packs of wild animals and bandits. But here you're going into a traveling in a place where there is no sakana. There is no such danger. It's best to read Kriya Shema in its proper time on the road, the Yamod possibly shown, and stand still for the first pasuk. Avot tefillah, the dafka muma kol tefillah. The tefillah we have to stay stationary the entire davening, not specifically standing, but stationary. Zayim shelo b'derech, that's not possible on the road. Until ispalo shlo b'zmanei kori, allowed you to daven not at the ideal time. Ach yispalo b'bei, so that as long as you daven standing still in your house. Actually, small gula tefillah. And even though, as a result, you will not be some gula tefillah. Now, after all this is said and done, Lamed Aleph says the Arukh HaShulchan, after we've been doing this yesterday and today, Ein HaMinhag Shalanu Kain. Our minhag is not like this. Efshar mishum de b'zeish pluktu b'Gemara. It's possible because there's a machlokas in the Gemara. Gemara sham yesh the lo chazina daviv da'achi. We see that we don't. Now the people who didn't do this. It's better to go and daven along the way. Even if you have to daven while you're traveling. What has become the accepted halacha is that it is better the Yisma Gula Tefillah to juxtapose Gal Yisrael to Shemon Esrei. But the Rashi Piyah Shatan, the Tefillah Mu'ubad Adif, Rashi also explains that the reason why tefillah standing still is preferable, is in order to have proper kavanah. And of course, as we all know, but we don't have proper kavanah anyway. Arukh HaShulchan is writing this. Imagine today. Therefore, it's better davening on the road. If you're sitting in a wagon and the wagon is traveling, then your chashik kamhalchin is considered to be traveling. It's interesting. I don't know if that applies also to an airplane. He says, well, I guess it does because it says v'chein b'spina. So to a boat. It's clear that it's obviously if he stays home until Mishiyakir, and then you call Kriya Shema, so then you it's partial that if you're not going that early, you're going to be home until the proper time. That if it's possible, you should remain in your house until Mishiyakir. Your friend that this is for Amut, you could Kriya Shema, and then say Shema, Yispal, and daven. Maybe Shalom Yisbar B'Siv Chav Shal. So it says there, how come Coming allowed to leave so early. We said you're not allowed to leave before davening. I find his bar with Sifcha Beis. You already said Sifcha Beis is bar mitzvah mutter for bar mitzvah's mitzvah or shashar ayin son lamtir, or where the caravan does not want to wait. Or yesh lo ones achar, he has some other compelling reason. Shemuchal says that he's got to go on the road early. Also, it's obvious. So on the boat, he sees my Kriyash is going to pass. He'll reach while he was walking. Just stand if you can, at least for the first pasuk. Even without filling, if you're not possible, you don't do it at this moment. She'll him alone, and when you get to the rest. And when you reach the hotel, Yikra Kriya Shema b'Yosef should then read Shema with its brachos and daven. After cross Kriya Shema below tefillin, even though it shouldn't read Shema without tefillin, Kol Makom Makom She'efshar Shani. So when you have no choice, it's different. Well, Mishnah writes that if he sees that Zman Tefillah is going to pass, then he should daven Shemona Esrei also while he's walking or sitting in a wagon, and that seems to be obvious. Lama base. East Gemara Shama says the Gemara there the Rav Ashi was Shabbos of the Rigla. Rav Ashi on the Shabbos when they used to get together on Yontif, Shabbos of Yontif or Chomoid. And Magid Drasha Baraboker, you'd say the Drasha early in the morning. So I was Shas Drasha Miyushav, and I've been sitting while saying the Drasha. Cham the Shmonti is probably Echad Echad, and the hope that all the people will go up and daven individually. Loyam Achad Drasha. You're not wait with the Drasha until after davening. Ayin Shav. So obviously that's a very different ballgame than it is today. Arukh HaShulchan says, so the Rigla, that was that time when that was a major event, and they would give the nation Musa. And all their deeds for the sake of heaven. Today this halacha does not apply. Simon Tzadi. Makam Aroilis, Palatila, B'Tzibor, Shem Makam Naki. Can't get away from this Nikias thing. Okay, Aleph, Kassaram Reish Berekei, Shmona Dvarim, B'Tzorchem Mispal, Li Zorben. The 8 things in Mispalas, be careful about, Lasoson, and do them. If he was in a tight spot, or he was compelled by circumstances, Osh Avar V'Lo Sazon, or he tried to violate the halacha and not do them, and a makbim in a pinch's tefillah is okay. What are they? Beiluain, Hamida, standing during davening. Nocha Mikdash, to daven opposite the base of Mikdash. Tikkun Aguf, to fix the body should be presentable. Tikkun Abushim, the clothes should be presentable. Tikkun Amakom, the place should be presentable. Bashvoya Sakol, and the voice should be appropriate. Hakriya, bending the knees, Vayishtachavoya, and bowing down. Akal the verbal matter from this word we learned. The Chol Dim Elu Ein Makbim B'Diavad. All these halachas are not impediment B'Diavad. For this Palim Yushav Meizid, even daven sitting down deliberately. Amori could have stood Shalol Tzad Misra, nevertheless Yotze. Shalol Tzad Misra, he daven away from, not towards the Beis Hamikdash, which we consider to be in Western countries to the east. Well, I've never understood why in Russia it should be considered to the east, it should be considered to the south, but okay. Come answer Chazor is parallel, never to go back and daven. So now we're going to talk about fixing the body and fixing the place, fixing the body. Tikkun HaMakom. So, base. Tikkun HaMakom Ketzer. How do you do it? Kachim L'chaim. Lo gabe kisei, person should not stand on a chair. Lo gabe shlaf, and not even on a footstool. And the low makom gavoa, not in a high place, be spalo and daven. You should ain't kavos leave there makom. There is no such thing as being high relative to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So therefore, Shneimar says Makim Kasi Hashem. There's called to Hashem from the depths. Uksiv Tfilah Lani Kiyatov Tfilah for a impoverished person, that when he wraps himself. And a person should thus present himself not as arrogant, haughty, and high, but as impoverished and wrapped up in his concerns. We learned in the Tosefta that If a person is old or ill, he's allowed to stand on a chair or on a footstool and any other high place. And so too, if he needs to for other people to hear him, such as obviously shliach tzibur. If he stands in a low place, low yishma tzibur not here. You can stand in a high place. Kasabram shiur gova, what's considered high, which is inappropriate. Who shlosha tvachim, 3 tvachim. The pachas mizeh lo mikre gova. If it's a less right than that, it's not called high. The kol pachas mishlosh karas michtadam he, and we have just general principle throughout halacha. Anything within 3 from the ground is considered to be like on the ground. Some people say, however, thou kli kolomito kisei v'safsol on a vessel like a bed, a chair, and a bench. Asur af be'enam gavoim. It's forbidden even they're not high. Mitam achrina, for another reason, shulamakam kotzar, because this is a narrow place. It's like davening on a balance beam, right? You'll be afraid you're going to fall. It won't have proper kavanah. Okay, and that is the opinion of the Ramah who wrote that. Ayin Sham. Says some people disagree. The Bach, the Taz, and the Magen Avram. The Mishnah Berurah writes, the Bach and Taz allow you to daven on a bench which is somewhat higher, but as long as it's less than 3 tefachim. But Eli Rabbah says you're going to should not. Now he says Arukh HaShulchan says Arukh yesh be'ez b'tekniyos sos. There's some shul shamakom shamei ba'ashatz unamuch mikoritz batza beis hakneses. That they actually make the place of the shul tzibur stands lower than any of the rest of the floor of the shul. I think the first place I ever heard of doing that is the Agudas Yisrael in Baltimore, but since then there are other places which mimic this. Al Shem, I mean, Ma'amakim Kasich Hashem, I called you from the depths. Maybe that's why the Rashi says the person goes down before the teva, before the stender to daven. This is Magen Avram. The Beis Yosef says in the name of the Ri Ben Chabib, this is in the brackets here, Lifnei teva means Perusho Shiurim Kamo. He goes down from his own place where he's sitting to go before the teva for the stender to daven. Gimel, this place they forbade is so it's not its own domain. It's not 4 by 4 amos. That's 4 amos. It's like a separate room, like Shabbos, Erevin. Even doesn't have surrounding walls, which normally are required to set up a reshus, unless it's 10 tefach. Well, let's see what he says. I'm not going to pre-prejudice this. I would say even doesn't have walls around. It's still like a second floor. You can stand on it. And also, if it has walls, even if it's not 4 by 4 amos, have a kirshus it's like reshus unto itself. It's permissible to dive in there. You can't tell it's tall. Okay, it's an independent domain. So therefore, it's only the teva from which the chazan davens that should be low. The bima is supposed to be high so people can hear. So if you're davening on the bima, mutar, it's okay. So you're davening on rishus. The dav kosher mukab mechitzos. Now, it's again, he stipulates it has to be either surrounded by walls, balustrades perhaps, or shevo arba amos or there be 4 by 4 amos. If it doesn't have one of these stipulations, also it is forbidden to daven there. Mishnah Berurah writes that the shamish is allowed to stand on the bima, even if it doesn't have walls. Even has 2 walls, walls on 2 sides, it's also okay. Because it looks like a place unto itself. Obviously, the 10 tefachim factor is not a factor here because it's not like Rosh Hashanah. So therefore, it's either 4 by 4 amos or walls, but nothing to do with the actual measure of the height. Dalit. Humnin shosim lacha etzav ba'abais. Craftspeople working by the ba'abais. Yichon yispel b'rosh ilon zayis. They can daven at the top of an olive tree, rosh ilon tena, or a fig tree. V'ein b'zeh mishum lo yamaru gabi mokom gabel yispel. It's no problem standing on a high place and davening. Came at Sholula Asos Machtom, since they went up to do their work. Habi Kamosha Ola Aliyah. It's like they went up to a second floor. But with Shari Lonas, but with other trees, Tzrichim Le'rei Lispel, they have to go down to daven. Batam Shishnu Zayisu Te'ena Mikol Lonas, what's in between the olive and a fig tree from all other trees? They shesh them on Novi Marbe because they have many branches. Yosim Shari Lonas more than other trees. Yesh Torah Gadol Ba'al Yosam, you're the sun, and it's very difficult to go up and down. These Balumi Al-Cham, they're going to waste a lot of their work time. As I'm going to say down there, because it's not because the trees support them well, because there are a lot of branches and leaves, but rather because it would take too much time to get up and down and up. Okay, and other trees, therefore, the like a beetle where it doesn't take that time, much time, you should go down. If you're the boss, you got to go down from both the olive tree and the fig tree. The is not subject to other people's demands. He's under his own jurisdiction. It's a problem when they were leading by workers. They only were leading because it diminishes the work that you do for the Baal Bayis. Not the Baal Bayis lo shayach zeh. It doesn't refer to a Baal Bayis. Chein umnim shalanu. Also, our craftsmen, when they do work on roofs or sham and komos agvoim or other high places, which are not a separate rishus unto themselves, so they're separate rishus unto themselves. No problem davening there, and most of them probably are rishus unto themselves. But if they're not, it's difficult to come down and go up. If he's a laborer, can stand there on top and daven. If he's the boss, he's got to go down. If the place on top of the roof is separate, such as the 4 by 4 amos, or surrounded by walls, then you can daven up there regardless. Shiur arba amos, the shiur of 4 amos who gimel ersin shamdinosenu Russia, whatever that is. Sazan, Shuzel mida be yodua. Were we to know what that is, the 3 arshin, which I assume is a small coin. No, it's kind of a small coin. What I'm talking about. I assume it's gee, I don't know what it is, because if it was a yard, it would be much too much. 3 yards. Well, that would be even more than the Chazon share of Daud Amos. So I don't know what these things are. Sorry. Amru Chazal. Hey, I'm sorry. Amru Chazal Sorpek Ein Odim. Ice Badam El B'Makom Bai Sheyesh Lo Chalonos. Oy down in a place with the windows. Nemar Paskin Daniel Kavim B'Sichel Bal Yisei Neged Yerushalayim. He had openings, windows open in his upper floor, opposite Yerushalayim. The windows cause you to have kavanah, not because you're going to look at Yerushalayim. But you look up to Shemayim. So look up to Shemayim, and your heart is subjugated to Akal Shalom. Your eyes have to be looked down. Nevertheless, sometimes you could just casually look up. If you look upwards, your heart will be subjected. So according to this, the window should be opposite the person when he's davening. Because Daniel, that's to bring evidence in there. The side Yerushalayim, they're open the side Yerushalayim. It's nation Yisrael, because that's the direction which he davened. Vav. Urashi tzorich lamar the hod exceed neged Yerushalayim. That would says opposite Yerushalayim. And kavanah actually is kar Yerushalayim. Only means to remember Yerushalayim, not looking outside the window to see if you can see Yerushalayim. She's staggered klapei Shemayim, but you should look upwards towards heaven. Amulashim Rambam Bloni Rakei. Ram doesn't see that way. She seems to say this. Shekosev. Perkei din v'avet tzorich liftoach chalonos or psachim keneged Yerushalayim. There's parallel keneged shnemar b'kavim psichin. Kuli akal Shalom. Sounds like the windows have to do with focusing on Yerushalayim. Where the kavanu rakim me Yerushalayim. It's clear that Kavanah is only because of Yerushalayim. The reason to use the windows is only because of Yerushalayim. Ulai that kol echad. Maybe it's a surmise or Arukh HaShulchan one thing. She staka klapei Shemayim keneged Yerushalayim. When he looks up, he looks towards the heavens, opposite Yerushalayim. Yosef chaven v'libo nichna. More Kavanah, his heart is subjugated. Seems to be the case in Rabbeinu Yonah, who wrote, it's possible that he reasons because by seeing the light, he'll be more calm, and be able to have proper kavanah. The windows should be open towards the east, like it says in the pasuk, neged Yerushalayim. Because on the basis of this promise, I think it's probably a typo. Maybe shal ha'abota by this looking. His davening will be directed towards the either place meaning HaKadosh Baruch Hu or place meaning Yerushalayim, probably HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yoser v'nir tiyat filasim rutzuyam mkubelas ad kamashonas. Will be accepted and will be desired and accepted on high. Okay, so after I finish the shiur now, I looked up the Wikipedia, the Wikipedia entry on obsolete Russian units of measurement and length. The basic unit is the Russian cubit called the arshin, which has been used since the 16th century. It was standardized by Peter the Great in the 18th century to measure exactly 28 English inches. Thus, 80 vershoks equals 20 piods equals 5 arshins equals 140 English inches. So that means that 3 arshins is 3 times 28. 3 times 28 is, it's 90 minus 6, which is 80. 90 minus 6 is 84, right? 84 English inches. 84 English inches is how many feet? Divided by 12, I believe you will get 7. So the Arukh HaShulchan's 4 amos are 7 feet. 7 feet, which is between Reb Chaim Noah's 4 amos, which is 6 feet, and the Chazon Ish's 4 amos, which is 8 feet. Now we have this third measurement. According to Arukh HaShulchan, the measurement of 4 amos is 3 arshin, which is, again, as we said, the 7 feet. Looking down here to see if there's Suzanne thing appears here. Excuse me. Yes, here it is. It's a sajen, S-A-Z-H-E-N, and it is a fathom. A fathom, an English fathom, I believe, is 6 feet. But this fathom is a Russian fathom, and it says here that it is 7 feet. So 3 arshin, 1 sajen, 7 feet, different than Reb Chaim Noah and different than Chazon Ish.